Manawaker Studios Flash Fiction Podcast is supported by patrons on Patreon. To find out more or to add your support for as little as $1 a month, visit patreon.com/Manawaker. Welcome to Manawaker Studios Flash Fiction Podcast. I'm CB Drogi. This week, Misunderstood by Dave Ring.
Lies and damn lies. Do not think to offer me a salve for my wrongdoing. It is you that does not know your sister. What even does she have to return to? A paltry collection and a bevy of murderous siblings? Hardly an inheritance. When I first saw her, of course I remember. The first sight of her cut me like a knife. That hair, her skin, the earnest expression on her face, the muscular silver-green length of her tail, the way her flat stomach merged into her Piscean fold. What? You asked. She wasn't here for a social visit. She wanted something, like all the rest of them. But still, she had an effect on me. Made my skin electric. I treated her well. Not like when you swam in the door. I didn't feel her up, suck rudely at her skin. She had more bearing than you, more poise. It didn't even occur to me. I didn't realize she was half-daft with love until she'd basically finished her story, and by then I was already smitten. The realization just made me feel sordid, like I'd been caught mounting a stone. So yes, I knew. She told me about following boats like some drunken manatee, toying with divers. She was obsessed. But I liked the fire in her eyes. The rest of you are slack-jawed guppies in comparison. Ha! So says the least loved sister. Don't interrupt me again or I won't explain. Should I have made her pay? Perhaps. But when I opened my mouth to strike a bargain, her shoulders went back in a stance of untried confidence. And instead, I just said yes. I couldn't say no. Of course I wanted to. I wanted to tell her to stay with me. Instead, I gave her legs. She didn't believe me when I told her it would hurt. But even as that beautiful tail was rendered into two twin spears of flesh, gauche and graceless, she didn't cry out in pain. Just muttered that fool man's name like a mantra, until I told her that a single further repetition would mean the last of any help from me. No, you don't need to know. I've already heard it one more time than I care to. Just as merfolk weren't meant to have legs, humans weren't meant to breathe brine. If I felt a fever run through my body while I clutched her to my chest, when I exhaled life into her untried lungs until I could raise her to the surface, who can blame me? No one that matters. Even as I wanted her, twisted creature that she was then, I am not an opportunist. True pleasure is the spawn of desire, not deception. Anyone that thinks otherwise is conniving or a cad. I should have abandoned her on the shore, amidst the revelry of a torchlit celebration cacophonous with drums. I should have left immediately. But instead I was caught, mesmerized by the sight of her untried haunches seizing up as she tried to walk. She hypnotized me, lit against the dark by the starlight pinpricks of bioluminescent phytoplankton affixed to her skin. By day her hair was crimson, but in that moment she was a masterpiece of ink upon darkness, upon shadow. He won't love you, not all of you. My own voice surprised me, unintendedly candid. only the part he knows. Not like I would, went unsaid. My voice carries well. I know she heard me, but the words dropped like stones. I didn't think she'd reply. Then she laughed, a sound small and mean. But no one can know all of anyone, can they? She asked over her shoulder. Don't look at me like that. I had nothing. Why the prince himself walked by her first, I don't know. None of my doing. Get her some clothes, I heard. Why couldn't she walk? Asked another. I might have imagined it, but I think I saw a smug smile cling to her lips. Then she was gone. I sunk a frigate in a bit of pique. I snapped its mast between my tentacles into smaller and smaller pieces until I was simply crushing splinters into silt. I refused to think of her again, for weeks until your other sister came. The fey one that fancies she sings as well as a whale, said the girl'd been made queen. Something in me shriveled and died. My skin went muddy to match the shale. She begged me to bring her back, weeping and tearing out her hair. Said the old man of the sea wanted her home. I told her the only way her fool sister will come back is with that damn prince dead. She threw a fit, stole my best abalone knife on the way out. Intent on regicide. So, for you to swim into my domain with that knife in your shaking hand, reeking of murder and trailing sharks in your bloody wake, to beg the succor of an anchoress who's done naught but give your family what boons they've begged? Well, you will leave disappointed.
This has been Misunderstood, written by Dave Ring, and first appearing in Afterlines. For more information about Manawaker Studios' other projects, including books and games, visit manawaker.com, which is also where you should go to learn more about the authors featured on this podcast or to get details about submitting a story. The Flash Fiction Podcast theme song is by Kevin MacLeod. Manawaker Studios' director of DICE is Ben Baston. I'm CB Droege. You can follow me on Twitter and Facebook at CBDROEGE. Thanks for listening. On the next installment of Manawaker Studios' Flash Fiction Podcast, they lie in wait under the surface of reality, like landmines, like unexploded bombs, waiting for the unwary, the ones who don't watch their step, to explode them back into the world.